Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and we are back with another Gundam card game video. Last time I talked about my least favorite cards out of GDO2, and you know what? That video popped. So thank all of you guys. I really do love the conversation. It doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree with me. I just like seeing your thoughts. I love being able to interact with them, and I am overwhelmed with the amount of comments you guys are bringing in. I'm trying to get to them as soon as possible, so thank you guys for that. But today we're going to go a little more positive on the content, and we're going to talk about my favorite cards coming out of GO2. So strap yourselves in, because we got a couple things I really want to dive into and talk about. But I do want to address the elephant in the room right before we get into that. My assessment of Barbados. A lot of people were talking about that. That's where most of the comments from that video came from. And I have to say, first and foremost, I do not hate Barbados. I am a huge Iron-Blooded Orphan fan. I will be completing my playset of these Altards because they're so raw. I run 4 of them in my blue-purple deck, and yeah, you guys can stay tuned for some gameplay as well as the deck list later on in the week. You can see over here, there's literally Barbados second form on my shelf. In this box, there is Lupus Rex Master Grade, part of my like 30 model kit backlog that I don't know when I'm going to complete because I am chronically here making videos. I love Iron-Blooded Orphans. It's just like, God forbid that I wanted this card to be a 2-3 instead of a 3-2. I just wanted to have 1 more HP, so it's not getting blown up by 2-2s. It's not getting blown up by Elfrith blocks. It's not getting blown up by double gun tank or Angsha gun tank or double Angsha. That's all I asked. That's literally all I asked. But yeah, that being said, if you like this sort of content, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe if you want to join the Unix fam today and never miss a beat, and then you can even join the membership for additional deck profiles as I update them, but I don't think maybe it's like, you know, a substantial enough update to make a full video out of. You'll be able to see different parts of gameplay where I just have game after game after game with commentary and less edits, and you can join in contests or giveaways like the one I'm holding right now, where 3 lucky winners will win ST06 Clan Unity starter decks. And so yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff there. All you gotta do is join the membership, only 99 cents a month. Little for you, but it adds up for me, means a lot. And you go comment on that post with your favorite GDO2 Altart. All right, let's hop into the assessments. Okay, so the very first card that I want to talk about, a lot of people are talking about, and it's actually going to be the Psycho Gundam. This guy is a big boy, level 6, 4 cost, 4/5 stat line, breach 3, and then during pair cyber new type pilot. One of your Titans units destroys an enemy shield area card with damage. This unit recovers 2 HP. So that's really cool on its own. Just being able to hit a shield directly, or be able to hit a base for game, or be able to breach the base the way your breach shield way is going to heal this by 2. And the cool thing is, because it doesn't need this Titan to be it can have your whole board just swinging that shield and healing this thing up to full, which leads to a pretty cool thing when you consider the pilot is also on the screen, 4, because 4 says during link once per turn during your turn, when this unit recovers HP, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, you can draw 1, which means that you can get into this style where if you're pushing body tempo, you can get into this like just rhythm where you're swinging over a body with Psycho Gundam. Psycho Gundam immediately does breach. If you can break a base or end up hitting a shield, Psycho Gundam will take damage from, you know, swinging over something, but breach and then heal back 2 damage, and then you'll draw a card if you're at 4 or less cards in hand. But you also still have the other Titan cards in order to go in, potentially deal more damage to shields and heal Psycho Gundam up to full, because while 4's effect is a once per turn, Psycho Gundam's is not. So I think that this is actually a really cool interaction. I love how it works. And then you also have Psycho Gundam mobile armor mode, the giant refrigerator unit, and like it has repair too. So at the end of your turn, you're still going to potentially be healing if you attacked with it, and that's going to still trigger 4. Trigger 4. If you guys seen Zeta, you know trigger 4 sounds funny because 4 actually is quite easily triggered. But I am saying here that this is a cool interaction. I love all of this. There are a couple things I will say about this. The cyber new type trait here on Psycho Gundam and the cyber new type piloting makes a lot of people want to play blue red cyber new type, but I kind of feel like when you look at this, you have essentially a body tempo Titans core, and people are trying to jam like burn, like ping into this. And I think though the only thing those decks really have in common is the cyber new type trait on pilots. I don't think those decks synergize. You're never going to want to put a 4 underneath a Kshatriya LR. You get its effect, but then 4 doesn't work. 4 is a vanilla at that point. You're never going to put, like, there's a lot of things that just don't add up. And so at the end of the day, I don't actually think red blue cyber new types is any better off than it was before. It has more options, but you're kind of playing 2 disjointed decks, and I think you could double down on strategies that work better for both of them. Whether you're going way deeper into the ping bag now that we have things like Haman and Kubele, or whether you decide to build up, like, you know, a protective shell around Psycho Gundam, because the way that Psycho Gundam reads to me, white blue should be very, very good, because you can play blockers, you can gum up the board, and then you can finally make your way to Psycho Gundam turns where you just clean up the board and get your heals and draws along the way, replenish your hand. You have really cool plays, like if you have 4 cards in hand and one of them Show of Resolve, just get Psycho Gundam and 4's effect off first to draw up to 4, or draw up to 5, and then play Show of Resolve to get up to, what, 6? So you can go up the ladder, you can gain a lot of hand advantage that way and really start hammering out those cards. So I like this a lot. And then one more little point of lore that I think is really cool. Psycho Gundam's level 6, 4 is level 5, and MA form is level 5. That's because MA form showed up and then it unraveled to become Psycho Gundam. People are like, what is that? And that's really cool to me. Psycho Gundam and 4, like the first stage of it, but then it can transform and hit the Psycho Gundam non-MA mode. So I like that. I think this core is really, really cool. And it's one of my favorite things introduced in GDO2. And I also think that Titans is the best core to come out of GDO2. So the next card we're gonna go over to is Gundam Heavy Arms, and I actually love this card despite being an anti-stand for Wing. And what I mean by that is, like, Wing, you know, it came out, it was like the first Gundam series we saw in North America. It didn't age well in my opinion. When the older I get, the more I realize that most of the cast was nonsensical in my opinion. The storyline, pretty weak in my opinion, but the one thing you can't deny is that the unit designs, the mechas, the mobile suits, all had aura. Like, unless you were a Leo, you had straight aura. Like, nobody's gonna look at Endless Waltz Wing Zero and be like, yeah, nah, this does not go hard. Nobody's gonna look at Death Scythe Hell Custom, Heavy Arms Custom, Ultron Custom, and be like, nah, this ain't hard, because they all are hard. Like, the only bum on the team is Sandrock, and even then, he is passable in terms of aura. Epion, Tall Geese 3, all these look so good. So yeah, I gotta give it to that. Like, they're aura farmers, incredible aura farmers. Now, when it comes to Gundam Heavy Arms, you have got this level 4, 3 cost 3/4, right? And deploy, look at the top card of your deck, return it to the top or bottom of your deck. Seems pretty cool. It's a scry. The most important thing here is the Operation Meteor trait. And when I say the most important thing, I mean that, because one of the main things that was kind of weird when it came to Gundam Wing was how many pilots you had, how many individual pilots you had. Hito Yui was a must run because you need to link with Wing Gundam, even more so than Wing Zero. Duo for a little bit was considered a must because of the ramp and the first strike. Then people realized that you can actually reduce the usage of your brain cells by 98% by just running straight blockers and just surviving until you can get to your top end. Why play a card that ramps if it means that you don't have the blockers to stop yourself from taking 3 damage the following turn? No, just actually survive, and then you'll get to a point where you can play big cards and then ruin your opponent's life. So with this being in mind, Duo has kind of fallen to the wayside. A lot of people aren't running Death Scythe, a lot of people aren't running Duo, but I think now that we have Gundam Heavy Arms, there could be another reason again, because now you don't have to run that janky Death Scythe, you know what I mean? Now you don't have to sometimes just look at your Ilfrith and be like, well, nah, here's the Duo going under this. You have a card that can scry your next card to make sure it's at least optimal, or put it at the bottom of the deck. Then you can attack with them. And if you put Duo under there, this is a 4/6. He is clearing off everything, like little aggro pieces. He's swinging into these 2/2s. He's swinging into these 3/2s. He's getting rid of so many things and still having a third or 2/3 of his health left some of these times. I think this card is a phenomenal card for Wing, and I think it gives you a lot of flexibility because it doesn't matter whether you're playing Hito and Wu Fei, Hito and Duo, Hito Duo with a Wu Feng Splash. This guy is going to be able to link with all of them, meaning that no pilot is dead at any point. And I think that a archetype that has this many cooks in the kitchen needs a card like this. I really do think this is where it's at for that. So the next card we're going to look at is going to be the Elmeth. And the Elmeth, this is where I kind of get to potential land, because Elmeth hasn't proven itself yet. It's just simply one of my favorite cards. First off, this game wants you to link. So a card that rewards you for linking, automatically cool. The static AP +2, automatically cool. Now I do think that once you get over 6, it's all kind of relative. Like, I guess if you want to crash this into a big unit, you can. It'll be like a 7 minimum. Well, it's linked, so it'll literally be a 7. But I do think that when it comes to this, what I really like is the ability to look at your top 5 and search pilots. This is an unprecedented ability on a body. We did have Path to Victory Defeat from Gundam Wing, but now we're going to be able to look at the top 5 for a Zeon pilot. Now, the only thing that's kind of an issue with this is that at some point Zeon does die and becomes Neo Zeon. So realistically, anything really after Zeta, anything after Zeta is pretty much like cooked. Like Zeta forward is cooked, because I think before that, of course, the 1 Year War, you have Zeon. You have Zeon in some of the stories, like, you know, Gundam Thunderbolt has Zeon. That's new and that's popular. We'll probably get that at some point in the series. We're gonna get Stardust Memory. There's no way we don't get Stardust Memory at some point. I got a burning heart. No, but like, we're gonna get it. It's popular, and when we get that, you know, GPO2 is probably gonna be Zeon. You know, you're gonna have the Noir. I forgot what the mobile armor Gato had towards the end is, but you're gonna have Zeon units. You know, if we get MSO 8th team, you're gonna have Zeon units. But once you get to Zeta, we're less Zeon and we more have, like, you know, Titans and AUG, and you know, because the faction flip essentially, and then you get Neo Zeon. So eventually this will kind of fall off, because the only thing you'll be able to find are cards from the past and, you know, G-Quux, but they can't keep printing more and more things. I'm just saying that over time, as we get expansions, we're going to see more Neo Zeon over Zeon and stuff like that. So it's got a ceiling built in already. But enough about that. The point is, I do like being able to search pilots. This is the only card in the game, if I'm not mistaken, that you can play with nothing else in hand and potentially find your pilot to link with it and then swing in for the crash, for the shield break, for the game even. So already this is the craziest thing, because normally if you don't have 2 cards in hand, you're not linking. Even when it comes to cards like Gelgoog, you need Gelgoog and you need a Sharon Trash, and then you also need the Zeon pilot, or the Zeon unit. So I do think that Elmeth is very, very unique in what it does. It's heavier than what Zeon wants to do, but who's to say that Zeon can't play a kind of more tempo to mid-range with this as its top end? If this is the most expensive card in your deck, we've already had people play Sinanjus in there before. We already have people playing, like, you know, they'll play like red blue aggro, but their top end will be Banshee. The same thing, bro. Like, we can potentially see this just being the top end for Zeon, green base Zeon decks. Now moving on to red. Red did not have a lot that impressed me in terms of, like, general cards, like generational gains. They did not. And that's really just because a lot of red was situational. You have Neo Zeon, which is like a mini archetype, you know, and there's probably going to be a lot more once we get double Zeta. As we get more unicorn cards, we'll get more. But at the moment, and Char's counterattack too, but at the moment, we don't really have a lot of generic good red cards. What we got from Neo Zeon here was kind of slight, and what we got from Clan Battle is very much so Clan Battle coded. And then we got new UNE, but I don't really want to talk about that because that one is also very archetype coded with not much payoff. So unless you wanted a bunch of 0/1 tokens, in which case you are rich, brother. You are rich. There's a lot of payoff there. I'm just not sure how that'll work for you. They also printed out all range attacks, so if that deck was even good, there would just be an instant out for it automatically. But yeah, let's get away from that. The Gawaden is super important to me. If you guys have seen my Clan Battle video, then you guys know that I actually love this card. I love this card with all of my being, because the is it in that one? I think it's in that video, right? It should be in that video. But the point is, the Gawaden is pretty much my favorite red base, mainly because yes, you pay 2 for it, but you're going to be able to get a card from your shields to your hand, and then you're going to be able to discard your worst red card to draw a card. So you're going to see 2 more cards, one from your shields, one from the top of your deck. And I think that red has so little hand advantage. but also red is generally aggressive, and red has a lot of combo pieces due to its burn slash like ping kind of features. So I do think there's a lot of chances for you to just be like, okay, Gundam, and then, you know, get rid of your card, but you get a card from Shield, you get to see what that card is, and then you get to discard your worst card after seeing a new card from Shields, and then draw, and hopefully your strategy comes together. So I think Gundam is a very, very, very good proactive shield for red, and I think it really helps to red consistency. I already see this as a red staple. I see this as a red staple. I love this base. And yeah, as per usual, if you're watching this video, you'll probably like the video. And if you like the video, I would implore you to like the video. And yeah, maybe if you subscribe, like I was saying before. I just want to remind you guys that I am doing plenty of things in the other quadrants of Universe X. I have my gaming channel, Universe X Media, where I play games like, you know, like Gundam, SD, Gundam, G Generation. It's really hard to see, but it's a tactics game. That was Domon on the screen. Looks pretty cool. I'm actually in the process of playing Time Stranger, or at least I'm getting back to it, Digimon Time Stranger. I'm also in the process of playing like Pokemon Legends ZA over here. So realistically, I stream games, I play games. We got Dokkan Battle as well. We just have a lot of stuff going on over there. So if you want to see me do things that aren't the normal TCG videos, go over there, and that's where I do pretty much everything nerdy. As anime comes out that I want to watch, like different Gundam series and stuff like that, I'm going to go over there, reviews, you know, just plot breakdowns, all sorts of things. So yeah. Thank you guys for that support. I appreciate you guys. And last but not least, just remember that if you want to win one of the STO6 starter decks and get access to videos as soon as I upload them, not when they're scheduled, as well as additional content, just make sure you become a Universe X member today, UniX fam member today. And now let's get back to the content. So the next card we have here is the Gundam Aerial Rebuild. Okay. Anywho, level 7/5, cost 5/5, and I think this is exceptional because yes, it requires Suletta Mercury as the link, but realistically, if you don't mind waiting a turn with this on the board, it's already just goated. It has high maneuver, and high maneuver in white is fairly rare if I'm not mistaken, if not this literally being the first, I gotta check. But you're gonna be able to swing and avoid all those pesky blockers. It's got 5, so already its stats are base breaking unless they have a 6 HP base. And then during pair, when there are 4 more commands in your trash, this unit gains blocker, meaning that yeah, you pair it with any pilot and it's going to be able to gain blocker as long as you have command cards. And we're getting more and more good command cards. I have to preface that, good command cards by the starter deck and the set. So this is very, very much so obtainable, but this is just good top end for any white deck. Throw in 2 Solettas as your, you know, your supporter pilots, and then just go ham with this later in the game. Unblockable, or it could stay back and be a blocker. Base 7 HP when you link it with Suletta, and if it does swing, you're gonna open up a resource to do other things with it. Yeah, no, I think this card is cracked, and I think it's actively just one of the better cards they just randomly released. It just fits in well with the Academy deck, but it realistically can be slotted into so many decks. If we have a generic white X deck, this could easily be just part of your top end. Just run 2 to 3 of them, you draw them in the late game, put a Suletta under there, start going crazy. So yeah, I think this is just an excellent card. Very simple, very straightforward, not really much to go into. Another simple, easy, not much to go into card is actually the Rick Diaz. The Rick Diaz is it's just the new blocker on the block. It shares the same level and cost, therefore curve spot, as Ilfrith, but it does different things from Ilfrith. While Ilfrith is neat in the sense that it can block a 2/2, kill it, and then be able to either have to be swung into that next turn, or it can be up for another block on another 2/2, is really good. But Rick Diaz can do something that Ilfrith cannot, and that is trade with a Rizal. And on top of that, yes, even if you get hit with a 2/2, you block a 2/2, they still have to either burn you for 1 or swing into it, because this guy has 3 health. So in some cases, the Rick Diaz is better than the Ilfrith. Like, just flat out. Like, but they're both great blockers, and now you have a little bit more bite. Rizal does not, or Rizal or a Hurricane, here, yeah, I think it's the Hyakuren. Yeah, Hyakuren. Those no longer just straight mog your Ilfrith blockers. You now have the Rick Diaz to come over, pick up the slack, and get some trades going. So very, very good blocker. Next card I have here is New Sign. This is like the Elmeth on this list. It's a potential card because I don't necessarily see this immediately going into other decks, but I really like the design of this card. One, the draw 3, discard 2 is just great because any trash associated decks like Vulture, a deck that reanimates later using Awakened Power to its fullest potential, which we'll get back to later in this video. Anything that has things to do with the trash, this is going to be a phenomenal card to run if you can run white, because you could be running something like, you could be running something like Show of Resolve, where you lose a card in hand playing it, you draw 2, so it's a +1 in hand advantage. This is also a plus, well, you lose a card, so you're down, you draw 3, you're up 3, you lose 2, so you go down. So it's still a +1. This is still a +1. Just had to make sure the math was right on that. A +1 in hand advantage. The only difference is this allows you to flood your trash. So if you're using those Gallahorn strats, bam, you're up there. You've discarded like enough Gallahorns in the trash, and there's not really much of them right now, but like I discussed in the last video, we have a lot of key Gundam units that are going to come out of Gallahorn. So this is a just really cool card to set up your trash while advancing your hand and sculpting it, and I appreciate it. Even if it doesn't pop off now, this is gonna be one of those cards where just a set, 2 sets, 3 sets later from now, this is just gonna be a star player. Like when you see this happen, you're like, crap, they're online. The next card that I want to talk about is actually going to be Decisive Last Resort. And Decisive Last Resort is very interesting. It truly is a Decisive Last Resort because it's going to be kind of hard to play this. 6 purple units in your trash. Like the way I see it right now, purple is not the best. Like purple is an excellent color on release as long as it's not your focal color. I feel like purple is probably one of the best support colors in the game right now. Purple gives you access to Barbados LR, which can be pesky, especially if you have blockers to protect it. Purple gives you access to a blocker, even if it's outside of your color. In Guxion Rebake, it gives you access to battle tricks like with Blood and Iron. It gives you access to Fatal Strike. It gives you access to Suppression Barbados 4th form, or the 6th form. One of those. I think that personally, purple is the best support color, but because it is the support color, because like blue has graduated. Blue is your main color in a lot of these decks right now. Because it is your support color, 6 purple units in specific may be a little harder to do. Like you may be only able to pull this card off once or twice, which means if you're running it at 3, you may easily see it but not be able to use it, and you can't even discard it and use it for fuel because it's not a unit. I could be wrong on that, but it's just the math I was thinking about. I'm like, if you have a lot in your trash, you're probably already losing, because you've been losing your bodies and you've been losing your tempo. But if you can use this once, as a comeback, that's cool. I would prefer it if you could use it while you're ahead, but if you're ahead and your opponent hasn't been able to manage your void orb, this card draws and it's a brick. So I think this is a really cool card. I'm just not sure if this is the card for now. As we get more and more purple cards, purple will be able to stand on its own and just be a complete deck on its own. And I think that's where, like, when you have mostly purple, like 60-70% purple and 30-20% something else, or 40-30 something percent something else, you can have enough bodies to amply get off maybe 2 of these per game. I'm just not sure if we're there yet. And now, the last card that I have on this list is going to be Awakened Power. Awakened Power is a very nice card. It's pretty cool. I think it's a little underrated while it's somehow overrated. I think right now in this format, Awakened Power doesn't really have the most uses. I'm not saying it's bad, you can run it, but I just don't think Awakened Power is abusable. I don't think there's any come into play deploy effect that can be abused hard enough with this card to make me be like, yeah, nah, this is a 3-of every purple deck. I really don't think so. But I think that there still has to be a lot of testing. That it is going to be really cool where you draw another pilot and you're like, man, but I don't have anything to link with. And then you have Awakened Power and you're like, hold up. For 2 extra, I can play this out. For 2 extra, I can play the Gundam from the trash. And then for 5, and then pay 1 for Amuro, and I still made a link, you know what I mean? I could play Kshatriya from the trash and then end up slapping on a Merida. Like, there's a lot of things you can do with this card, and so I think the potential is limitless. We just have to keep our eyes out for the best interactions with this card. Now, that's pretty much that. I think that this card is going to make waves in the future. I'm just not sure how viable it is this particular format, but we will see. And yeah. that's all we got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm churning out this Gundam card game content, so I hope everybody's finding some content that at some point they can relate to or really sink their teeth into. Stay tuned. Next week, I'm gonna have more edited gameplay up for you guys to see. I'm gonna be putting up some unedited gameplay up hopefully tonight. By the time you guys are, tonight, but last night by the time you guys are watching this, unless you're a member. If you're watching this as a member, it's gonna be tonight, hopefully. If you're watching this as a non-member, it'll be last night. Speaking of that, if you're a non-member and you're seeing this, you are probably either mid this tournament or before this tournament, but I'm currently commentating a One Piece regional along with True Champion Steven. So if you guys want to go over to there, you can see us doing it. It's the New Orleans One Piece regional. Just look it up. You'll probably see the link stream on the Facebook sites and on Twitter. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Remember to like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you want to join the Unix fam, and go in the description to see all the other things that this brand has to offer. Thank you guys, and I will see you later. Peace.